Welcome to This Week in BJJ, the world's first and only live jiu-jitsu show. Brought to you by Zebra Mats, Simply Z Best, and Q5 Labs, Stay Alpha.
Welcome to a new episode of This Week in BJJ. I'm Budo Jake. I'm joined here with AJ Agazarm. Today is September 13th, 2013. We're going to talk about wrestling in the Olympics. We're going to talk about the American Nationals, the IBJJ Pro League, Copa Podio, and a couple new DVDs and more. So don't go anywhere. We're going to start off on a rather somber note. I got a message from my friend Francisco, who runs the Destroyer SG website, about one of his friends and teammates, George Abrahm, who unfortunately recently passed away in a tragic motorcycle accident. It was on September 9th. He was 23 years old and trained at Street Sports in Los Angeles. Some of you guys might have seen him on a very popular YouTube video called Sky Jitsu. Let's take a look at it.
Hi, this is Professor Daniel Rodriguez, and I'm here with my rookie, George Abrahm. We're going to demonstrate some techniques, some jiu-jitsu techniques, some self-defense in the sky.
So AJ, I've skydived a few times. I understand you're getting ready to?
Yeah, actually, on Sunday I'm headed down to San Diego for my first leap.
Nervous about it?
Nah, it's been something I want to do for a very long time.
Yeah, I didn't think it was scary at all. It's you just feel like you're kind of floating there.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool shot.
Yeah, that's George there in the white gi.
That's crazy. And guard in the sky.
Where are you going to jump out? Hemet?
I'm not sure. Actually.
Very cool video, and sorry about that news, George. He'll be missed.
Yes.
So now, in good news, this is something that wrestlers around the world are rejoicing about. Wrestling is back in the Olympics.
I'm pretty excited about it. I have a lot of friends that are vying for that spot there for the Olympic trials and getting ready for the world championships right now, and it's just one of those things that didn't make any sense when that announcement came about. When they're just like, the IOC has dropped the sport of wrestling. The sport of wrestling is talked about in the anthem when they sing the Olympic anthem. How could you drop one of the more the founding sports? Obviously, those are my roots, so I'm pretty big fan of the sport, and I'm glad that it's back on track of being in the Olympics. So they only announced it right now as it being in part of the 2020 and 2024 Olympics. That's right. So I'm not sure what else is involved in terms of
getting it back in for good.
For good, yeah. But at least it's on the right track.
Yep. I want to read a little quote from FILA President Nenad Lalovic. He says, "Today is the most important day in the 2,000-year history of our sport. Today is the most important... remaining on the Olympic program is crucial to wrestling survival. Wrestling received 49 votes for reinstatement in the games, beating out baseball, softball, and squash rather easily." So, great news.
I want to say, I certainly, actually, I think it's within the next couple of days, my old teammate, Reese Humphrey of the Ohio RTC, is getting ready for the World Championships and wants to win his first world title in wrestling. So, best of luck, Reese.
Nice. So I know a lot of jiu-jitsu guys got interested in getting wrestling back in the Olympics, but I'd like to know how many of you guys actually watched it on TV. And I would imagine it's pretty slim. So now's your chance, guys. It's back in. Wrestling is here for the next 2 Olympics, so support it and watch it.
Please do. It's pretty exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of exciting, last weekend was the American Nationals, which is the biggest tournament after Worlds in Pan in the country. And you and I were there. And it was a very productive weekend.
Yeah, I'd say so. It was certainly fun-filled, a lot of actions. How many matches did you have? 5?
5, yeah.
I had 9.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
This was, AJ and I both got our black belt the same week a couple months ago, and this was, you had some of your biggest victories, beating Samir 2 times, Denny Prokopos, in the finals. You had Eduardo Telles. So we're going to take a look at some highlights here. This is some of AJ's fights from the American Nationals, gi and no gi. This is your first opponent, Choi Wan Choi. He trained with Sean Williams for quite a bit. Now he's with the Mendes brothers. And this was one of the most dominating performances I've seen, certainly as far as points go.
I didn't get 2 points for that takedown, though, surprisingly.
What was the final score? 29-0 or something like that?
27-0.
How frustrated is that, not being able to get a submission?
He was kind of, going in reserve mode for a little bit there, which is frustrating. But yeah, it's not fun to go against somebody like that. But
and here we are with Ali Geddes, one of the most active competitors on the planet. One of Roger Gracie's black belts.
he has the most tournaments I think I've ever seen anybody compete in.
Yep.
It's unbelievable.
I don't know how he affords it, but he's always traveling the country and the world competing.
And he has one of the most pain in the rear half guards.
And the closeout with Rodrigo Freitas. How did you decide to give him the gold?
Well, we decided to give the gi to him.
Mm-hmm.
He's applying for his visa, so the more titles he has with jiu-jitsu, the better it looks on his application.
Yep.
And then also, we kind of made the decision if we made it to the finals of the no-gi that he'd give me the no-gi.
Yep. So here's your first absolute division, Antonio Antonioli. How did this match go for you?
Really tough close guard.
Yeah, this was a close one.
This guy was actually pretty strong, making it frustrating to pass, and fortunately came out with the victory.
Mm-hmm.
But wasn't definitely not easy.
Next up was Samir Chantry, who's a very intelligent grappler, trains with Kayotera.
Yeah, as soon as he did that guard pull, actually, my finger jammed, and I think I sprained my
Yeah, I saw you messing with it for quite a while.
pretty bad.
And that's no small feat, passing Samir's guard like that.
Yeah, it was definitely tough. It was surprising for me that I didn't end up finishing with the choke.
Mm-hmm. Nice acrobatic move there.
That would have been fun.
A little heated there for a moment.
Always good to take the heat away back with a handshake.
Yeah.
I think sometimes you get in the heat of the moment, and then you just get back out, and you're like, okay, we know we're friends. We're doing something here else,
Right.
On the mats and off the mats, kind of thing.
Absolutely.
But this was an exciting weekend for me. It pushed me one step closer to achieving my goals for this year in the no-gi season. I have left on the IBJJF circuit is a Pan-American no-gi Jiu-Jitsu championship in New York. Then I have ADCCs, but still on the IBJJF circuit I have Brazilian Nationals right after ADCCs and the World Jiu-Jitsu Championships no-gi here in Long Beach after Brazilian Nationals. The three ADCCs, Brazilian Nationals, and Worlds are one weekend right after the other, so it's going to be a nice, heavy competition for 3 weeks.
No rest.
Yeah.
And you're not going to be able to
Yeah.
eat too much.
Yeah.
Okay, let's take a look at some of the no-gi ones.
Sweet.
The Nationals is a 2-day tournament. The first day is gi, second day is no-gi. So here's your first match in your weight against Eddie Bravo's first black belt, Denny Prokopos. Was that a little mind games going on there?
I don't know, but I had a lot of people tell me I should have waved hi to him or gave him a high five or done something. I have no idea what that was.
This is a really good match. Denny, as you can see, is very flexible. He has really good guillotines. You got a couple takedowns, but every time you got a takedown, Denny set up a guillotine.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen you tap to a guillotine.
Yeah, most guys, for me at least, the guillotine is really easy for me to use the guillotine as a pass. But Danny did a good job of keeping me from passing his half guard, which is a pretty dominant position for me once I get to the half guard. But this was really weird for me. I had no idea what was going on. I don't know what his strategy was there. It wasn't frustrating. It was just like really weird. So maybe it works for other competitors, but I don't know what that was.
Here we go.
Yeah,
Marcellatine.
you can see that I use that for the pass there.
Yeah.
As soon as he gets to that point, and see, I pass, and then the ref stops it.
Yeah.
What a
I
pain.
wanted to see that continue. Little omoplata action there.
Nice match, though.
Yep.
Most people don't know this, but I was 5 pounds over an hour before I had to weigh in for that fight.
Now, how did you lose 5 pounds in 1 hour?
So I got to the venue probably like an hour and a half before I needed to to fight, and then I was stepped on the scale. I went to the hotel the night before, and I didn't have a scale with me, so I wasn't sure. I had some fluids and some snacks, but I got to the venue, and then it said I was 5 pounds over, so I was like, oh boy, I have some work. So I put on my gi and some sweats and went for about a 3.5. Yeah, I think either 3 or 4 mile run. Came back, ended up losing 4 pounds, and then I think my adrenaline was still going, and I ended up floating the rest of the pound off right before I competed.
Wow.
A little bit of scale tricks, standing on the back of the far right or leaning to one side of the scale, but it wasn't easy getting those last 5 pounds off.
It's no small feat.
I think most people would have probably looked at the scale and said, all right, I'm not competing today.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
I had some things I wanted to accomplish that day, and it wasn't something I wanted to just let it go at the mercy of the scale. So I had to do my work and get it done, and thankfully it happened and came out on top.
Absolutely. Next one up is against James Popolo. This is a pretty big size difference.
Super tough guy, really strong. Obviously, he comes from a really good school with Rafael. Where they train a lot of conditioning and strength there. I think everybody I've seen out of that gym is really athletic, and it showed in this match. The guy's really strong.
Yeah.
Much bigger than I am, that's for sure.
Do you alter your game when you're going against bigger guys or smaller guys?
I try to stay on top for the bigger guys. I'm not afraid to be on bottom, but at the same time, it still depends on who I'm fighting. His hips were so strong, he just would collapse me. I couldn't even get a single leg off.
Yeah, so this is the first match of the open weight.
Yeah, went full 10 minutes. He actually swept me right to mount, and I was up 4-0 at this point, and he had some good advantages over me. And then he ended up sweeping me to the mount, putting me down 6-4. So I had to do some serious work at that point to get back into the match. I'm not sure where it happens in the match yet, but no real risk there with that submission. I think I was just trying to get the angle. I'm pretty sure this is where he sweeps me. Yeah. Right to the mount. And I'm down severely on points. The submission wasn't a threat. I knew I needed, in order to win, it would have been very tough to, his cardio didn't seem to be affecting him, so I know I needed to at least get back to the points being even or me ahead. So at this point, I'm down 6-4. There was 2 points that were kind of given to me and then taken away. So it ended up being, I think was 1-6-6 and then brought back to 6-4. But at this point, I'm just thinking, like, I need to get my arm free, get him back to half guard. Maybe I can take his back, or pretty good about taking back from the half guard, but I just know I needed to do some work at that point.
This one went the full 10 minutes as well.
Yeah, all my matches went the distance this weekend. Except for, I don't know. Yeah, no, except for the finals of the gi. So I had a lot of mat time this weekend.
Yeah. That's the one thing that I find that wrestlers have the advantage. They're used to doing a lot of matches in a day.
Yeah. As soon as I got to this position, I was like, I gotta get my hooks in, get these points. If I get these points, I know I'm within, a 2-point lead, so I'll be pretty comfortable. The time was running low. I just knew I had to hold that position and get my last hook in. My right top hook was already in, so I tried to make him feel like I was a little bit staying light on top, so he would come up, and give me the space to get my last hook in, and he did. So it was perfect. Right here is where I get my hook in, I think. Just the support of the crowd, I think, in this match is what kept me going. You know, I had everybody rooting for me and cheering, and I think when they see a big size difference, the crowd tends to favor the smaller guy.
Yeah.
How long has James been a black belt?
I think a year, maybe 2.
I was so happy.
And then here's where James just starts attacking the legs.
Yeah.
You can see Pellis and Jason Manley in the background. That was a great match.
Jason's really tough. He trains the wrestling with us. I think a normal person probably would, there was a short time there, would have kept the lead, and
Yeah.
I just was on the attack. I wasn't.
I like how you finished strong.
I didn't want to give any chance of him getting 2 more points and tying it up.
Great match. Then the next absolute match was against Samir, if I'm not mistaken. There we go. Did you feel good going and facing him a second time, since you'd already been against him the day before?
I know. I felt a lot more comfortable facing him in the no-gi.
And here there was a little collision with your knee, hit his forehead.
Amazing this.
They started over in the butterfly guard.
If you look back that again, he stopped after I was passing his half guard,
Right.
which made sense, you know, from his perspective. But I was kind of upset about this scenario. But fortunately, came back out on top and did what I needed to do.
And let's be clear, he wasn't faking it. There's a big red mark on his head.
Yeah, that was I remember that takedown. That was a nice takedown. Samir's really tough. He's been around the game for a long time. He's a very smart competitor.
Mm-hmm.
He knows how to play the points. He knows how to play the bracketing. He knows how to play the refs, and you know, it's a good victory.
Yeah, and he's got great jiu-jitsu. He's tons of gold medals.
Yeah, he's on the lighter side of competitors, but he's really, really, really good at jiu-jitsu. And
Yep, he is a lightweight. I mean, a featherweight, excuse me. So props for Samir for going in the absolute division. Most featherweights don't.
yeah, him and his teammate
Yep.
both in the same division and doing the absolute.
Yep. Samir, Cashinho, Kaio, oftentimes in our absolute divisions.
I think he went for my toe, and then I had attacked the toe hold at the same time.
Remember Kyron telling you, attack his foot.
Yeah.
Do you like to get in those dueling toe hold battles?
Except for if it's close on points, because I know if either one of us goes out, we're given
A penalty or something?
taking. You know, if we go out of bounds with a submission, the other person gets 2 points.
Yeah.
I felt, you know, in trouble here. I felt that there was a chance he could get that last hook in, but I know I just had to keep moving and hopefully get back out from that position. And he even trapped my arm, which was kind of risky, but it was better than him attacking my back.
Right. Yeah, no points for a crucifix.
Yeah. I think I tried for a last armbar setup, and then time ran out. We're both really tired.
Yeah. And then the final match was you and the legendary Eduardo Tellez.
Agazarm.
For some of you guys that don't know, Tellez has been in the game for a long time. One of the co-founders of TT Team, him and Terere. He was one of the teachers of a lot of the biggest names in the sport today. And you can see that experience. What a great technique there.
It was actually funny. He was joking with me on the podium. He asked me how old I was, and I said 20, 26, and then he said, I'm 27. I knew he was joking, but I just, oh, cool.
Tellez has one of the most unique games, oftentimes looks very relaxed and just giving up his back and kind of looks like playing around. But he's really excited about this match because AJ is the type of guy that will not let you play around. And it's true, he made Tellez work hard.
He's got really strong hips. Every time I would dive in for a shot, he would just collapse.
How annoying was that?
Hips. Yeah, see, another strong position for me, and he did great at defending it and preventing me from passing.
Mm-hmm. How many times have we seen you there that weekend?
It's a nice showy-rolled crash guard.
Yeah. Tellez recently moved to San Diego. His Team 99 school there.
Super dangerous from the turtle position.
Yes, I was concerned when he started attacking me from that position. Most people kind of disengage when he goes to turtle, but you're right on top of him.
Yeah, I felt he definitely was strong in that position, but I also felt comfortable myself, you know.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of scrambles, a lot of flurries.
Yeah.
I was looking for that last hook, and seems like he's always baiting from that position, you know?
That's what makes him so fun to watch. It's so unorthodox. Do you feel that you fight any differently against legends of the sport like this, or versus just a normal guy?
I try to keep all those emotions and feelings out of it. The best thing I think is to go out there and do what you're capable of and keep everything else tuned out. I think obviously there's some guys that you want to be looking out for some of their strengths and knowing what they're good at and what to just be mindful of. But other than that, I try to stay away from all that.
Mm-hmm. Very nice transitions.
Yeah, real active match.
Yeah.
There was very little points in which it was slow.
Yep. There was a match in the gi the day before where Tellez got a few stalling calls and ended up giving up 4 points of stalling penalties. It was nice to see Tellez so active in this match. This is a great matchup.
Yeah, fun to watch for sure. In the end, though, it was close because we were a 0-0 score here, and then I think I had 6 advantages. He had 4. He had 3. He gives him 4, but he nearly swept me there. I was like, no. There was like 10 seconds left. I was like, I gotta get out of here. I gotta get out. And fortunately, he came out with the victory.
Super close, super fun. Hope to see that matchup again sometime in the future.
It's funny, my professor called me after the tournament. He said, you competed against Tellez? And I said, yeah. He said, "Man, I love that guy." Like, you can see how long he's been around the sport. You know, my professor's pretty been around it for a pretty long time, 4th degree black belt, and for him to come back with some awesome things to say about the competitor, you know, was pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't think anybody dislikes Tellis.
Yeah.
So I had a fun weekend too. Let's take a look at my first match. This one was against Scott DeWitt, who was a 1st degree black belt under John Doc Machado. He's also a Masters and Seniors World Champion, beat Megaton last year. And it was a good match.
The signature move.
Yep. Kind of a little Williams guard here. Push his head away. Put my foot in front. Could tell Scott was experienced, very strong. He's staying pretty tight. But I found the space I needed.
Yeah, as soon as you lock that omoplata on, it's usually done deal.
Yeah. I like to do a lot of different things from this position. Here I was kind of playing with an arm lock on the far arm. Didn't have quite the right leverage, but I'm still cranking the other arm.
Yeah.
And here I make a slight adjustment with my hips, and that was all it took. Thanks for the match, Scott. So that was for the gold medal in the featherweight. Then let's see. There's my corner. Then next up, had a rematch against Danny Alvarez. We had a great match in Vegas and another great one.
This time was the no-gi.
Yep. It's always interesting feeling people's different games, you know, the gi versus the no-gi.
Did you feel more comfortable in the no-gi or the gi?
I felt more comfortable in the gi, surprisingly.
Yeah?
Usually I like no-gi more, but I got him in a guillotine right away. I had Eddie Bravo in my corner telling me what to do, and I should have listened more. He was telling me to open up and switch to butterfly guard and try to flip him over. And I was thinking about it, but sometimes in competition you don't want to open up too much for risk of being passed, so I didn't.
Yeah.
Ended up giving that up. And, in the match we had in Vegas, I omoplated him over and over again, and he told me after this match that that he learned a lot from that, and he's been drilling that particular setup that I was doing to him over and over in his academy for a month, and he called that particular setup the Budo Jake, and I didn't get anywhere near an omoplata on him today. So that just shows how competing can help both people improve.
Yeah, he was definitely afraid of that. Nice flurry there. I think that's when I was screaming for you to go for the takedown.
Yeah,
because he was so like defending of the upper body. He was leaving his legs out. Oh, that was so close.
Danny has a school in Arizona, or Texas, I'm sorry. And he was there competing with his daughter.
Oh, nice.
They both won their divisions. So it's a friendly rivalry we have, and I'm going to have to go back to the drawing board and find a new strategy for the next time we meet.
That's awesome. Real active match. Could tell it was, he was up, so he was kind of holding that position and not risking anything.
Yep. The final score was 3 advantages to 1. He's a very experienced competitor and knew how to hold on to that lead. So I was debating whether I should do the absolute divisions or not, and I talked to you about it, and I talked to Samir about it, and both of you guys said, hey, why not? Just do it.
I said YOLO.
You said YOLO, that's right. And Samir told me, just be safe, don't get hurt, try not to take all the guys' weight on top of you, and you'll be fine. And so I did the absolutes and the gi and the no gi. Had a great time, fought some huge guys, guys with 70 or more pounds on me, but no injuries, had fun, and I think we have a clip of one of the absolute matches. Sorry, I forgot this guy's name, but this was the no-gi absolute.
For Masters.
For Masters, yes. We should have a little omoplata counter on the bottom. There's one.
Dang. As soon as you get the shin on under the chin, for me, it was like serious pain. It's good for him. He's just defending it.
Yeah, had him on the offense for quite a while.
Some Clarking going on. And again.
Number 2. Oh.
Do you find that omoplata to come easier in the gi or the no gi?
It comes easier in no gi, but you don't have the grips to maintain it as well. So it's easier to finish with the gi, in my opinion. Here, he's working a little knee bar or leg lock attack. I knew he needed that other hand to finish it, so I wasn't going to let go of that arm, his right arm. A little reset, and he's right there. We just filmed in a Sambo instructional, so I had leg locks on my mind. I knew exactly what he wanted.
Is he a Sambo guy?
He's not. No, he's just recently moved here from Sao Paulo. I wanted to maintain top position, but couldn't quite do it. And here we're going to see another. Head and arm, roll over. Spin out.
Oh, nice. Got out of that head and arm. That one's tight.
And that was it. I think we missed a couple of other omoplatas in there, but it was a fun match anyway.
Awesome.
After that, I got demolished by Jonatas Novaes in the final. That was a fun match too. So
that's awesome.
So thanks again for the encouragement to do the absolute. Why not? Right?
YOLO.
More guys should do it for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Next up, IBJJF Pro League. This is an event that started last year, and they invite guys based on their ranking, which you can find on IBJJF.com. So literally we have the best guys that are at least invited. They don't always come, but the best guys are invited. They divide it into 4 weight classes instead of the usual 8 or so. And so far we have Otavio Souza is going to be competing, and Calasans. I think those are the only 2 names so far.
Have they already released it's going to be at the Pyramid?
It's going to be at the Pyramid on December 8th. And it's just going to be male black belt athletes again this year. There's going to be a tournament earlier in that day and called the Long Beach Open.
Yeah.
If they're doing it the same way they did it last year, then you can qualify for the Pro League if you win gold in the black belt divisions in the morning's tournament.
Oh, interesting. I know in the rankings for the IBJJF, they only have the gi up, but there's no rankings for no gi up.
Okay. I've heard all that's going to change next year. There's going to be rankings for everything.
That'd be sweet.
Yeah. So stay tuned. There will be a live broadcast that we'll be doing for the Pro League on December 8th. So mark your calendars. Another tournament that just happened last weekend was the Copa Podio. This is an event that takes place in Brazil, and I didn't have a chance to watch it since we were competing that day. But from what I hear, there were some stream issues. A lot of people weren't able to watch it due to maybe some storms and power outages. But let's take a look at a picture here. We have Felipe Pena, the second from the left, who won the whole thing. And have you ever trained with Felipe?
I haven't.
He's a tough guy. Just got his black belt about a year ago. Super tough.
And Leandro Lowe fought Calasans in no-gi.
You know, the only things I know about this event is that Felipe won.
He won the tournament.
Yep. Then there's a super fight with Clark Gracie, and he won his super fight.
And who did he fight?
I don't know. And then there's a whole bunch of other things that I'm sorry I don't know. Just to be honest, I don't really understand the way Copa Podio works. There's different brackets.
I wish they would be able to do a better job of either broadcasting or letting people know what's going on in that sense. But it's a shame, you have these many high-level competitors going at it and not being able to see anything. It's the same thing with the ADCC. If there's no coverage on the ADCC, you're going to have all these amazing fights, and unless you're in China, no one's going to be able to see it.
Yeah.
So hopefully they can get it together with that.
Yeah, because as you say, no shortage of talent there.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's all the news that we have for today. Let's take a look at a couple new products. AJ, are you a fan of the leg drag position?
I've seen it done a few times. I don't practice it a lot or in training or in competition, but I think it's pretty effective.
Yeah, it's a really strong move. It's something that was popularized by the Atos guys, used as a pass where you literally drag the guy's leg across, and it's very hard to recover from. You see guys like Rafa Mendes, Guilherme Mendes, Galvao do it a lot. And finally, we have an instructional DVD available. This one is by Atos team member Tim Sledd, who put out a DVD all on the leg drag. And the amazing thing about this DVD is that, you know, with any move, people have their unique ways of doing it.
Sure.
And so if Galvao made a DVD, he would show his way. If Rafa made a DVD, he would show his way. But Tim, being a student of both of those guys, he shows the way Rafa does it and the way Galvao does it, and his opinion on which is better for which circumstance. So
that's interesting.
It's a really cool DVD. Let's take a look at a preview.
Today I invite you to watch this DVD series on the leg drag position. It's what I call the Galvao version of the leg drag. It's a knee staple, active toes, elbow tight, low lapel control. But when I have low lapel control, where I'm really pulling this in, getting this elbow nice and tight in here, and he tries the same stretch, it doesn't work. He doesn't get the distance to kill my position. If I change my angle just a little bit, so I bump, insert my leg, turn him, and as I come up into a leg drag. Watch if you understand a leg drag, watch what you can do. So you're here, you bump, you roll, and as you roll, you come to here. So the person goes to headlock roll you. And you kill it because you're on the hip.
So great DVD by Tim Sledd. That's available on BudoVideos.com right now. Another product that I know a lot of people were waiting for is the Baratoplata DVD that is now shipping. It's a 2 DVD set put out by Rafael Freitas. We filmed this a couple months ago, and Barata shows tons of setups from the top and from the bottom and ways to counter people's defenses to the Baratoplata. Let's take a look at that DVD right now.
Hello guys, my name is Rafael Freitas, better known as a Barata, and today we're just gonna try to share with you guys everything about the Baratoplata. So you guys will be able to understand a little bit better now, watch the techniques, and I hope you guys enjoy.
When he shake over there, I almost punch his face now. I always start getting angry now.
Okay, let's take a look at this week's promotions. We only have one promotion this week. If you have any promotions in the future, you can always email us at twibjj@BudoVideos.com. Just include a high-res picture. I can't emphasize that enough. No low-grade picture, please. High-res. This is your 15 minutes of fame. A picture, mention of the person's name, of course, and who gave them the belt and the date.
Black belt promotions or any belt?
Only black belt promotions. And we get guys saying, what about second degree or third degrees? It's awesome to get those degrees on your belt, but this is just for brand new black belts. So David Alonso got his black belt on August 31st by Paulo Fernando. Congratulations, David.
Congratulations, David.
All right, we're going to be right back with Sambo master Vlad Kulakov. We're going to talk about his training Sambo in Russia, about an instructional that we just filmed with him, and then he's going to show you a couple cool techniques on the mats. So stay tuned.
BudoVideos.com, home of the world's largest selection of quality jiu-jitsu kimonos, Show Your Roll, Control Industries, Storm, Tatami, Bull Terrier, and others. Styles from over 30 top brands, in stock and ready to ship. BudoVideos.com. You're only a click away from owning a new gi today.
Hey guys, welcome back to This Week in BJJ. Today we have a special guest, Vlad Kulakov. Vlad, thanks so much for coming in today.
Thank you for having me.
I remember years ago watching one of your early DVD sets, and I was impressed at what a good instructor you are. And it's always so interesting as a jiu-jitsu guy to see a little different way of grappling with your Sambo background. Let's go back to the early days and tell me about growing up training Sambo in Russia.
Okay, all right. Very simple question, easy enough. I guess training was in my blood. My dad boxed, wrestled, and he was in a strongman type of competition. So I could not imagine that I would not do something like that. To top everything, my cousin came. He was not a Muscovite. He was actually from the country. So he came and entered technical school. And he was training in technical school's gym. So as a kid, I was about 7 or 8 or so. I was going to his practices, and of course, there was no training per se. I was just getting piggyback rides, playing with a ball, punching the bag or whatever, having fun with him. And it was, if there was any learning, which was very little, it was all subconscious. And he told me, listen, there is a gym literally 2 blocks away from your home, and you can train with your peers instead of instead of training with us who are 17 and 18-year-old teenagers or whatever. So little did I know that I was lucky enough to be living 2 blocks from the most prestigious Sambo school in the world. It's kind of hard to explain the magnitude. You have to be there. It's a gigantic complex with academia, building and a sports complex, and there is a bunch of wrestling halls, bunch of like mini gyms with a big mat space. One of them is capable of hosting A-class tournament, which means a world tournament. Back then, we only did Sambo strictly, and played with judo a little bit more. But upon decline of Sambo and the breakup of the Soviet Union, Sambo role kind of declined with the Soviet Union prestige or whatnot, and judo took over. So Sambo 70, it's mostly anymore a judo school. We do train Sambo there as well, but now it's more like judo. So I started when I was 9 years old, 8 or 9 years old, and at first it was a part-time. I was still going to my regular elementary school, and I was going to Sambo 70, but starting with the 5th grade, everybody got enrolled full-time. So I was literally studying my academy in one part of the school, then moving on and training in the other one. Training was extremely intense, starting with a very young age. In Russia, period, not just with Sambo, but with any sport, there's the attitude is very serious, it's very professional, it's not recreational. And the reason being, it was free. It was free. I was lucky enough to live close and train for free. And my coaches, or anybody's coach's salary, relied on how many champions he raised. So the more champions in higher categories he raised, the more his salary was. So nobody tolerated slackers or whiners or whatever. You didn't want to train, you could get out. And And I got into martial arts. I got into Sambo not because I had poor grades and I needed to straighten out, and not because I was bullied. I just wanted it. I honestly, very much inside me, I just wanted to train. I just did not imagine doing anything else. And I started showing pretty good results fairly early, in my life. I won just about all tournaments I entered, and my biggest achievements in terms of Sambo were 2 All-Soviet Cups. They were not national tournaments per se, but it was Soviet Cups, so they represented different republics of Soviet Union. I took silver in the first one, and I took gold in the second one, which was very most prestigious. And in the second one, I actually won all my matches with clean victory, which means submission or technical superiority. And on my way, I also beat future world champion. So something to be proud about.
Nice.
When I was about 15, I got like a severe knee injury, which kind of slowed down my Sambo, and I had to kind of stop. And when I came back, Asian martial arts became popular. So I kind of forgot about my Sambo roots, and I got whirlwinded into the world of Kung Fu, Taekwondo, and all that stuff. And I guess I took my Sambo training for granted a bit. It made me a good athlete and it made me a good Sambo wrestler. But like I said, I was sold by the flash of kicking to the face or whatever.
Right.
But later, it was about 96, in some of the kiosks, I was able to buy a VHS with UFC, I believe it was UFC 6, when Oleg Taktarov won it. And so that made me to reevaluate my training. And I was like, this is a Russian guy who does Sambo and he's winning all these fights. It's awesome. So that kind of sparked my interest yet again in Sambo. And I restarted and I never looked back.
Let's go back and...
We're gonna cover there real quick.
Okay.
So far, so good?
Yes.
Yeah. Left the window. Mark, can you hear something? The window was open. So somebody walks by there. Go ahead and ask.
We good?
When you're ready. Yeah.
Okay. So Vlad, take me back to the original academy where you trained. And how was a typical class structured?
It's good. I was going to tell you, but so many thoughts were in my head. I forgot. Like I told you, training was super intense. We trained 6 days a week out of 7. And even 7 days a week, to me, was never Sunday. It was never truly a day off. I ran a little bit or skied or whatever, something like that. 3 days out of 6 were double headers. We had practice at night and practice in the evening, 2 hours each. And mind you, we were like 11. And 3 other days we had single practice, single 2-hour practice, either at night or in the morning. So you basically train every day. On top of that, our coach had us running morning. We had like a morning pre-workout routine. So we ran a couple miles, nothing too crazy, warmed up, and then we stepped on the mat. And on top of that, we still have gym class, you know, because we still were part of regular Soviet educational system. And on top of that, we had a goal of doing 200 push-ups and 100 pull-ups every day. Not at once, but on the course of the day. So imagine with this kind of training, combined with technical knowledge and experience and the pedigree, if you stick with it, it creates some serious athletes. So 3 2-headers, 3 1-headers, plus the push-ups, plus the pull-ups, plus everyday morning jog and warm-up.
And is there live sparring in every class?
Just about. Believe it or not, as a kid, technical training, maybe it's my conception or misconception. To me, it was not all that technical. Coach will explain some moves, but it was a lot of live sparring. It was a lot of throwing. And when you're a kid, you don't ache as much, you know. Judo and Sambo is an unforgiving sport. When you start as an adult, it's hard to take a fall. But being a kid, would easily have to go through about 50 or 100 throws each per practice. Then we'll work on a move, and then we'll do a lot of conditioning and a lot of sparring. Some on the mat and some standing up.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about leg locks in Sambo for a moment. Some people think that Sambo is predominantly leg locks. And in Jiu-Jitsu, there was a time when there was a stigma about leg locks, and there still might be a little bit. What is the attitude towards leg locks in Sambo? Is it just another submission?
Yes, absolutely. Just another submission. Geography of Sambo in Russia is enormous. Russia goes from nearly subtropical to everfrost. And each time zone has their own champions. And like I said, competition and geography is crazy. And each school has to offer something of their own. Some Sambo players are very much like judo players. They're very much stand-up oriented. They just like to throw. Some schools, for example, the school Oleg Taktarov came from in Kstovo, a very good school too, very prestigious in Russia, they specialize in leg locks. So it kind of depends on your coach, on the traditions in your particular gym, and so forth and so on. But mostly, leg locks are very developed, and so I guess even a Sambis who's not like a leg lock lover would be still pretty good leg lock specialist comparing to, let's imagine, jiu-jitsu guy would not. But other than that, yes, it is just another leg lock, and I just want to, I don't know why, I want to crush a popular belief. Heel hook is illegal in Sambo. It's even illegal in combat Sambo. So people often credit Sambo with heel hooks, but it's mostly knee bars and straight ankle locks and some calf crushes.
So where do you think heel hooks came from?
Catch wrestling? Yes. Yes, catch wrestling. Because catch is partially, or shoot fighting rather. Shoot fighting is partially catch and partially Sambo. Because, when you do Achilles or heel hook, the setup is very often the same. So you might switch to a straight ankle lock or you can switch to a heel hook. And since heel hooks are so dangerous and so effective, I guess that's why they took in no-gi submission grappling.
Mm-hmm. And did you train with the kurtka, with the uniform?
Absolutely, never without it. There was no such thing as submission grappling when I was growing up. So the only time you'll take kurtka off is just to do some calisthenics or some conditioning. But every grappling practice, every live session was done with kurtka, with a gi, with a top.
So you moved to America and you took it off.
Yes, I moved to America, and maybe that's because where I lived. I lived in a fairly rural area of New York, about 60 miles away from Manhattan. I could not find any Sambo, and I felt embarrassed to join like a high school wrestling program. I felt stupid because I was already in my early 20s. Sambo was almost non-existent. There was Sambo per se. Believe it or not, there was better Sambo during Cold War in America than now. Sambo kind of declined with the breakup of the Soviet Union. They only had one tournament, virtually no grassroots, virtually unknown, yada yada yada. So I could not find a Sambo school, but jiu-jitsu and submission grappling was somewhat similar. And I love the idea of submission grappling, where you can do anything. You can do all throws and takedowns without any restrictions, plus all the submissions. So I kind of took to it more than jiu-jitsu, let's say. So that's how it started.
And now you have your own academy.
I used to have my own academy, but now I teach at actually two places. I teach in Ramsey, New Jersey, a silent fight gym, 3 nights a week, and I teach for my former student at Warwick Jiu-Jitsu Academy, 1 night a week. All those classes are no-gi. So somehow I can't seem to get people interested in the gi,
What is your opinion of Sambo in America right now?
Steve Keffer, aka Sambo Steve, is doing a great job. He's an awesome guy, very genuine, very simple, and direct. And I'm fortunate enough to have Steve as my friend. And I can vouch for the guy 100%. He does all the right things regarding of current political climate outside of him. He genuinely only interested in developing Sambo in America. And I hope that our association, American Sambo Association, will become a representative of FIAS, which is the world governing body for Sambo.
Mm-hmm. So you're still promoting Sambo quite actively.
Yes. I try to stay away from politics, but it's still my sport. It's my alma mater. That's what I although I love all combat sports, especially grappling arts, including jiu-jitsu. I love jiu-jitsu, but that's what I am. I don't want to be something I'm not. Mm-hmm. So I want to promote Sambo and submission grappling.
Whenever I've seen you teach, I've always been impressed at your ability to explain things with Russian terminology, Sambo terminology, with the Japanese words, and also the jiu-jitsu vernacular.
Yes.
You seem very open-minded as far as the grappling arts.
Yes, I am open-minded. Listen, if you look at the best grapplers, they all blend. Like let's say he was in one of your episodes. Catch wrestler.
Eric Paulson?
I'm so sorry, Eric. Yes, Eric Paulson. He trained with Machados, he trained with Hickson, and he trained with catch guys. And it's like chemistry. Once you mix two agents, you're bound to have some kind of reaction. And if you look, for example, at Marcel, yes, he's a jiu-jitsu guy, but he actively uses like an arm drag. I would consider his style eclectic style, So, or Jacare blends in judo, wrestling, and jiu-jitsu. So I think that's very much. Or Dean Lister,
Mm-hmm.
Dean Lister wrestled. He was a Sambo champion at one point in early 2000s somewhere, and he trains with Machados, right? Mm-hmm. If I'm not mistaken. So once you blend in, once you open up your mind, because any crystallized grappling style, including Sambo, will offer only limited amount of techniques due to rules and regulations. Okay, once you take it apart, once you can do anything, then you start blending in styles, because any style has got something nice to offer. Mm-hmm. So, like I said, I love jiu-jitsu, submission grappling, freestyle, Greco. It all blends in. A base is still Sambo base, and it's hard to explain. It's not because I like leg locks. It's like a philosophy, If you train with me for a little bit longer, or train with any Sambo guy, you'll understand what I mean. Because armbar is basically an armbar. I mean, there's only one way you can hyperextend a joint of elbow. But the way you approach the armbar, the way you set it up, that's what separates styles, you know. So maybe I would say my game is a little bit more top heavy. I don't play bottom too much. I do prefer leg locks. Leg locks is a great equalizer. If I play with a good jiu-jitsu guy, there's no way I'm passing the guard, you know. But if I threaten with leg locks, I either going to get leg lock or I can take his mind away from leg locks and pass the guard. So it goes hand in hand. It's mutually beneficial.
Mm-hmm. From a Sambo guy's point of view, what do you perceive as the weakness in the average jiu-jitsu guy's game these days?
Usually when people are equal on the ground, what will separate them from each other, what would make somebody have an upper hand is either strength or stand-up ability. So if they both even on the ground, I would like to be having an upper hand in terms of throwing, because at least I'll get 2 points. Very often when I encounter jiu-jitsu guys, not always, it's not a rule, but very often I call them jiu-jitsu handicapped. They rely on technique only, and they might be very smooth and all that stuff. But you gotta realize that this is a sport. We're not talking about scenario of self-defense when I'm having 24 hours to defend myself. I'm talking. I'm gonna have to cramp in anything I can within 5 minutes. So I simply have no time to lay, analyze, and try to take advantage. I have to force something. So that's why I think jiu-jitsu, the way it's practiced now, is not going to be an Olympic sport, because Olympics motto is bigger, faster, stronger, and so forth. So if I assume that I'm a weaker guy and I have to lay and wait for the guy to make a mistake, I do not fit that criteria by definition. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I'm not saying it's bad. It's just my observation. So that's why I prefer physical jiu-jitsu guys. I love Palhares, I love Jacare, I love Cobrinha. And although I do realize and appreciate finesse of weaker people or whatnot, but it's just my personal preference. I'm not saying it's good or bad. I like people that bring it in. Mm-hmm. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely. Totally understand. I think everybody appreciates that kind of aggressive, dynamic jiu-jitsu.
Yes, it's a sport, like I said. And if you're given 5 or whatever 10 minutes, you have to push it a little bit.
Yeah. Now let's talk about your latest product. We've been filming a series with you over the last couple of days. What have you been showing?
Well, what I've been showing throws and takedowns. I consider myself a fairly decent Sambo player. In other words, if I have gi or kurtka, I can throw, I can throw people around. I'm good or whatnot. However, I don't have like a wrestling pedigree. I can't shoot singles and doubles and all that stuff. So what I'm showing Sambo modified or applied Sambo for submission grappling. So once you take a jacket and you don't want to stick to your conventional wrestling move, but you still want to throw people around, that's what I show. I show you how to use overhooks, underhooks, combinations, how to control the upper body so you can throw people Sambo judo style versus taking them down. To me, if you take somebody down from legs to their back, it's a takedown. If you elevate legs and rotate somebody, that's a throw. And once again, I'm not a purist as long as you get somebody down. However, deep inside, I'm still a thrower. So that's what I'm trying to show people. I'm trying to show fairly simple ways of throwing somebody Sambo style without getting over technical and without like going too deep in the forest, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was impressed. You showed not only throws and takedowns, but also groundwork and leg locks, and all from a very different perspective than the typical.
That's the point. Once again, applied Sambo. Jiu-Jitsu is a crystallized style and philosophy. Hence, it will dictate your approach to grappling. But once, like I said, if it goes from jiu-jitsu to submission grappling, it becomes a little different because rules are different. So therefore, you can draw more styles in, and that's what I want to show. I want to show that jiu-jitsu guys are fantastic. They do dominate Abu Dhabi, but there's things outside the box, pardon me for speaking in cliche, that could be drawn in and utilized with great success in submission grappling. So I'm trying to stay away, like you go to jiu-jitsu, you learn Americana, Kimura, triangle, and all that stuff. So I'm trying to show some unique submissions, not run-of-the-mill, yet realistic. I don't want to show sci-fi moves. And so some moves are fairly simple. It's just the setup, the way I set them up is different from your traditional jiu-jitsu way.
Yeah, it's going to be a great project because, we've done so many different DVDs here at Budo Videos, but this one has a very fresh perspective, and I think
great.
you guys
I'm very excited. Ever since I learned about Budo Videos, I watched your podcast, watched your rolled up episode, watched the people you work with. I was very excited to, honestly, I was shaking with delight when I learned that you accepted the offer and that I'll be shooting videos with Budo Videos.
Excellent.
I'm stoked.
Great. So, guys, stay tuned. That's going to be out by Christmas 2013. It'll be on DVD and the App Store for Android and iPhone and on demand. So
that's right, guys. It's the age of convenience. You can have Vlad Kulakov Sambo right at the palm of your hand. And if it's an iPad, 2 palms. How simple is that? No more rewinding VHSs. Just swipe your finger and learn how to leg lock people.
Some of the young guys watching would say, "What's a VHS?"
Yes.
We're not even.
Oh, it makes me feel old.
So we're going to go to the mats in a few minutes, and we're going to hopefully see something really cool. But before that, we have a viewer mail to take a look at. So let's take a look. Okay, we had somebody write in recently. Should we pop it on the screen here? A guy named Wayne says, "I'm finally ready to start grappling. I don't want to train with a gi, so do you recommend wrestling or no gi jiu-jitsu?"
Both. Well, it depends on your goal too. On your goals too. The name of the game is, after all, submission. So if you absolutely have to choose, I would say choose no gi jiu-jitsu. But if you can afford mix them up, absolutely do mix them up. Just remember, take the best from wrestling. Like, for example, wrestling mat work is largely irrelevant to jiu-jitsu, because very often to escape the pin you go on your force and the whole game based on your force. Where in jiu-jitsu it's okay to be on your back. So just make a proper adjustment and maybe take takedowns and conditioning from wrestling and bring it to your jiu-jitsu. So mix them up if you can. If you absolutely have to choose, no-gi jiu-jitsu.
Yep, I agree with that. Of course, if you can do both, that's awesome. They're both great arts. But you might be hard-pressed finding a wrestling school. If I don't know how old Wayne is, but if you're in high school, yeah, sure, you can do it in high school. But otherwise,
like I mentioned, I was feeling foolish. I didn't want to wrestle with little kids or whatever. So yeah, it's a little tough.
All right, just get out there and do it.
You know what, Wayne? Just buy my app. There's plenty of cool wrestling moves you learn there.
There you go. So Wayne sent this email into TWIBJJ@BudoVideos.com. If you have any questions for us, please send us your question, and we'll talk about it on the show. Vlad, thanks for coming on today.
My pleasure.
Let's go out to the mats and work on something.
You got it.